It is day 3 of the Democrat National Convention. I'm no longer in Chicago, as you could tell. We had a couple great days there. I'm really glad I went. I learned a lot. I absorbed a lot. And I have more and more takeaways that we will share throughout this hour and throughout our program. There is a trick. There is a psyop. There is a game that is being played against the American people. And it's very clever if you do not have eyes to see and ears to hear. It's very clever what the Democrat Party is doing. You see, they understand, they know the top leaders, David Plouffe being the leader of the Democrat Party right now. David Plouffe, by the way, was the senior campaign advisor and campaign manager for Barack Obama back in 2008. He wrote the best political book of the modern era called Audacity to Win. David Plouffe is now the campaign manager, senior advisor for Kamala Harris. He's a very, very smart person. And David Plouffe knows that Kamala Harris's policies and Joe Biden and what this White House has done, and honestly the state of the country, is bad for Democrats. They know that the state of the race is a difficult terrain. So the brilliant idea, and it's very risky that they have, is let's pretend that we're not in office. Let's pretend in our speeches, in our vibes, in our messaging that we're not the ones running the country, because we're not going to run on results. We're not going to run on wins. We're not going to run on victories or successes. We're going to run against the other side and then on just pure over-the-top exuberance, energy, enthusiasm, and spirit. Just talk about how nasty Trump is, talk about abortion, talk about Project 2025. And if you watch the DNC and you aren't a trained eye, you can fall victim to this propaganda. You can fall victim to this idea that the current Democrat Party has been displaced from party. They're trying to make it seem as if they are the rebels, that they are the resistance, that Donald Trump is still controlling every major institution. Obama certainly made it feel that way yesterday. Now, let's just get the obvious out of the way. Michelle Obama and Barack Obama objectively gave very powerful convention speeches. I think Michelle Obama was far more effective than Barack Obama. Michelle Obama goes after Trump, goes after the Republican Party. And what was missing, though, from Michelle Obama's very well-delivered speech, it was objectively a well-delivered speech, was she didn't all of a sudden riff off, and here's the things that this administration has done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For example, at the RNC, when Donald Trump spoke and all the surrogates spoke, myself included, we said, you should put Donald Trump back in the White House because he gave you Amy Coney Barrett, Neil Gorsuch, and Brett Kavanaugh. He renegotiated NAFTA. Unemployment rate was at a 17-year low. Mortgage applications were at a 7-year high. More than 5 million jobs were created. Consumer confidence was at a 17-year high. The stock market was reaching record highs. We had peace in the Middle East and no new wars. We were building the Keystone XL pipeline. We were eliminating immigration and border crossings to our all-time low. We were energy independent. The middle class blue collar boom was underway. The results we could pepper and we could say in a bullet form fashion. Democrats have nothing to run on. Now, of course, in their own circles, they're happy that the border is open and the country's collapsing and inflation is amok, because inflation and immigration are not mistakes. They are stated policy positions of the Democrat Party. But you must take a step back and you must say, time out here. Beautiful speech, Michelle. Really great. You know what you're doing. Barack Barry Soetoro, you know how to deliver a speech. No one has ever debated that from Boston, Massachusetts in 2004 when he said, there's no red states, there's no blue states of the United States of America. He's been on the public stage for 20 years. But what have you done? And if this election is about results, Donald Trump will win. If this election is about vibes and attitude and charisma, they're going to out-Hollywood us. Their production was over the top. From their roll call to Little John to going to the event in Milwaukee with Kamala Harris. But you must detach yourself from the propaganda and say, wait a second. Outside of all the taunting and the one-liners and the ridiculous attitude that is being espoused, what are they running on? This is Michelle Obama going after Donald Trump in such a low blow fashion. By the way, Michelle Obama, weren't you the one that says when they go low, we go high? Where's that Michelle Obama exactly? She went very, very low. So did Barack Obama. Where's the we're not going to go to their level? Oh, Michelle Obama lying and deceiving, going after Donald Trump, saying something he didn't say. When Donald Trump was talking about black unemployment, saying he might be searching for one of those black jobs. This is all they have, is social media taunting, one-liners made for TikTok, base Democrat politics, a lot of rhetoric, and not focusing or emphasizing on what have you done on the border, on inflation, on middle-class growth, on industrial policy. Why is it that there's hundreds of thousands of people that have died in Ukraine? American weaponry is now being used in the interior of Russia. We have the Middle East in bedlam. Energy prices are record high. We were energy independent under Donald Trump. Where are the results? They don't have results to run on. So they have pure propaganda brought to you by the mainstream narrative and the regime. Play cut 56.
For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hardworking, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black. I want to know, who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
That's all they have. Taunting, one-liners. Again, if you are looking at this as a political outsider, you might get mesmerized by that speech. You might become a little emotional and you say, wait, oh, and then afterwards, your emotions die down and you look at your Amazon shopping cart and you can't afford groceries. You can't afford the rent. You realize that your kid is going to a school being overrun by Hondurans and Nicaraguans. Crime is going up in your local neighborhood. The question that we must ask is, who's in control of this country? Because if you watch the DNC, they don't take ownership of America. Do you notice they don't take ownership? Because they know that if they were to present a clear agenda of what they have done, the American people are very, very negative on their agenda. So she's talking about Kamala Harris. This is their sales pitch for Kamala Harris. Notice the platitudes, the one-liners, the abstractions. Not a single legislative or policy accomplishment. Instead of saying Kamala Harris was able to get border crossings down and secure the border, she was able to be in charge of negotiating peace with Ukraine and Russia. And this is all brand and no content. This is all pizzazz and all shiny little objects and no meat whatsoever. It's all hat and no cattle. So listen carefully. This is Michelle Obama, who delivers a beautiful soliloquy of garbage here. What are the results? She's the current vice president of the United States. She's in charge of this country. Play cut 59.
Kamala has shown her allegiance to this nation, not by spewing anger and bitterness, but by living a life of service and always pushing the doors of opportunity open to others. She understands that most of us will never be afforded the grace of failing forward. We will never benefit from the affirmative action of generational wealth. If things don't go our way, we don't have the luxury of whining or cheating others to get further ahead. No. We don't get to change the rules so we always win. If we see a mountain in front of us, we don't expect there to be an escalator waiting to take us to the top. No.
It's like from Wolf of Wall Street. Fugazi. Where's the meat? Where's the essence? If you really listen carefully, this is so manipulative and insulting. That was 45 seconds of just, okay, propaganda. It's well written by your speechwriters. Great job, Michelle. People are suffering right now. We're losing our country. And that's the best that you have? They're not just painting an image of Kamala Harris that's not real. She's currently in charge. And she doesn't even assume that mantle. Because they know the American people, when they connect those dots, will reject her this November.